Hello, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to talk about the Nike Invincible and why it's a fantastic shoe that is definitely not for everyone. Okay, so another shoe review. Why have I got these? They were in the Nike summer sale. I thought they looked really interesting when I saw the reviews of them. Kind of max cushion, super easy day shoe. And I thought, well, you know what? They're in the sale, so they should be £160. They were 115, I want to say. Had them about 8 weeks, put about 60 miles into them. And not a lot of miles per week, I'll talk about that later. And I thought, actually, you know what? Marathon training's coming up, so let's give them a go, because what is it like to run in a max cushion shoe? So what do they like to run in, I guess, is that first question. They are strange. These are nothing like anything else that I run in. They are so squishy. Most things I wear are kind of general neutral trainers like a Pegasus or a Boston. These are maximum cushion, maximum squish. So it's the Zoom X foam, the famous stuff, but this is not your Vaporfly foam. It's a foam, but it's not the same. When you squish it down, it pushes back up, but what it is bouncy. It is so squishy. It is like a pillow, like a marshmallow. What that means is that whenever you try and go fast, it just absorbs it. I realized within 2-3 miles, I was not going to be doing anything quick in these. So what happens is, it's like wearing pillows on your feet. Why is that a good or a bad thing? Well, for the most of us, I live in a sort of small town. I think most of us live in towns and cities. I run around the park a lot. What's the park? It's a lot of concrete paths. Well, on a concrete path, it's not really that forgiving on your legs. Now, if you're living in the countryside and you've got miles and miles of trails, you probably don't notice how much of a battering your legs take. What these do is these really help with getting in the miles because they are so soft. So coming back to what do they like to run in, they are strange. Because they are so squishy, they will compress, and they will compress so much, so much. You push down and it absorbs it, but not in the way that you'd expect. When you've got a really squishy shoe, what you tend to find is that it kind of squishes and collapses a little bit to the outsides, but they've got this kind of crazy bumper all the way around it where the foam extends. You can see it particularly in the heel. The foam extends way beyond where it normally would. So whereas you'd expect it to collapse inwards, it's got something on the outside, so it doesn't. It's got more foam, so it compresses, but not in a way that you're used to. They're very different for running in. So different to anything else that I have or have had. So it's worth noting that they're not your normal shoes. They don't bounce back in the same way to give you the snap and the kick and the kind of bounce that you're expecting from a Vaporfly foam, but they are super padded for your feet, so it is really easy to do easy miles in them. What are they like to run fast in? Awful. Whenever I try and go a bit quicker in these, because they are kind of so squishing inwards, wherever your pressure is landing in your feet is where they'll squish and then bounce back in a slightly strange direction. So for me, I find that about 7:15 a mile and below, these are just not fun. They're kind of unpredictable. They're predictable in their own way, but they're so different to everything else that I have that it makes them unpredictable. So I definitely not recommend them for running fast in. Do not want them for that. Do want them for easy days. Again, when you're going through and doing easy miles, fantastic. So what am I using them for? Well, what I've found with these shoes is I will wear them about once, maybe twice a week. And the runs that I wear them for, about 1 in 3 of the runs, I'd say, would be when I would be going for a run anyway, but I'll wear these because my legs are a bit battered. I'll just go and do the same route I would do. I'll do 4 or 5 miles. I'll do it in these rather than in my general everyday Reeboks. So there's no change except I'm wearing a much more expensive pair of trainers. Not really what they're about though. So today I went for a run and rather than doing my 3.5 mile loop or my 4 mile loop, I put these on, set off and ended up doing a bit of a detour, covered 10k. So what are they giving me? Well, actually it's a couple of miles. My legs feel much better now than if I'd done 4 in other trainers, and they feel so much better than if I'd done 6 in other trainers. So what am I really getting? I'm getting the ability to put in more miles. I'm getting the ability to run 6 miles rather than 4, and actually probably 6 miles rather than 3. So I'm getting more training. I've got to give the time still, but my legs can do more with them. The final third of the runs that I'm doing with these are ones where I just would not be going out otherwise. So I might have done a session in a day. Do I really want to go out and do another run? My legs are a bit beaten up. I'm probably not going to go out. But with these, it changes the equation a little bit. I can get out in these. There's no drama. There's no expectation of going fast. And they really do help turn your legs over, help that recovery. So what am I buying with them? it's kind of like HGH Light, isn't it? You can do more training than you could otherwise. You're able to do a few more miles, and hopefully over the course of a marathon cycle, that will make some sort of difference. So that's how I'm using them. So where do these fit into a shoe rotation, into a training? I mean, if you've got 1 or 2 pairs of shoes, you really shouldn't be buying these. They're just not for you. If you've got 3 or 4, or you're training 3 days a week, again, I wouldn't bother. I'd save your money, I'd get something else. They're not nice to run fast in. If you want to go and hit your park run, this is just not something you want to wear. Okay, who are they for then? I think where these are for is when you've maxed out your training, you try and do some more. When there's nothing more that you can do reasonably, you're training most days of the week, you're trying to get more in, but you're tired, you're hurting. Now, you might be running more than me, you might be running less than me. It's less about that and more about you're doing all that you can do. And when you're doing all that you can do, anything to give you that little bit extra training is where these come in. So if you are wanting to run the day after a hard session and you're really beating up your legs, so you want to go out on a Monday, having done 20 at the weekend in your marathon training, because we are looking at, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and you get all of the marathon majors apart from Tokyo. There's an absolutely crazy number. They're just stacking up week on week. So if you're trying to get your training in and you need that little bit of help to get there, that's what they're for. It's when you've maxed out everything else, but you want to get a bit more in. And for that, they are absolutely fantastic. So that's kind of today's run. I ran a hard 5,000 meters on Saturday. It was rough. It was in spikes. My feet were hurting at the end. And then yesterday, Sunday, I did 17 miles with a friend. So I've gone from 5,000 meters hard in 15:40. I've then done 17 miles, feeling a bit hungover and very tired. Today, I went out. I would not have been able to run the distance that I ran in normal shoes. They just let me do that a little bit more. So I think if you can see that place for them for you, I think that's fantastic. But don't feel that you should be absolutely buying these. They're good, but they're not for everyone. So that's my summary of the Nike Invincible. I think they're fantastic. I will not be sending these back. Nike have a very overly generous returns policy. They do come in some quite zany colours. I mean, I don't really care so much about colours, but when I am spending £100 plus on a pair of shoes, I want them to look good. These do. They're really interesting. There's another colour scheme. They look good too. I think they're a really interesting pair, a really good addition to the mix of things that I have. So be sure to smash that like and hit subscribe, and I will do a few more of these because I'm really enjoying this. So take care, man.